everyone, what's going on? Just wanted to come at you with another Contest of Champions video. I've had a lot of people request some guides or tips for 5.3, or just Act 5 in general. There's a lot of tough nodes. It is a tough quest. I did like it a lot. I think that the difficulty level is on par for some of the bonus rewards that they get from becoming uncollected, and I just feel like there's some other it's kind of a good benchmark for where you're at, being able to hit it without burning through all of your revives, or even if you have to burn through your revives, there's some assets to be able to get that. Like the daily uncollected crystal is really nice, and even the free 4-hour crystal that's uncollected has been really nice, just having those increased rewards that are in those. So honestly, I had a couple people ask about a certain one. We're kind of going to do a series where I'll go through these chapters, kind of talk about what champs I used, what I see as a good champ to hit these quests with, different assets that are probably gonna be good for you. Maybe talk about the easiest path that I feel easiest path is in each section, really to help you guys get from, hey, I just beat Act 4, how do I conquer Act 5, to or if you're just coming out of Realm of Legends, or if you're doing Road to the Labyrinth, different things like that. We're taking that next step into Act 5, which is the next level of difficulty, really. So I had someone specifically ask me for Chapter 5.2.3, so we'll hit some of the other ones. I just want to, we'll start on here and kind of work through some of the other ones. I'm going to try to do a quick playthrough of it as well. So this is the chapter that's got buffet, which basically every time you pop a beneficial effect, your enemy is going to immediately remove it, nullify it basically, and they're going to heal 5% of their health back. So in this, you're going to want some people that don't really pop a lot of buffs. Dexterity does count. That's something that's still really annoying. I feel like that needs to be fixed. Same with it proccing Mystic Dispersion. That's my own opinion. I feel like it's one of those abilities as a mastery shouldn't affect that, but hey, it does, so we got to deal with it. So I'm going to take in here, these are the champs that I'm going to use. I know that obviously Thor, StarLord, and Dr. Voodoo are all proccing buffs, right? So Voodoo's heal buff at the start of the fight is immediately going to be removed. But I want people in there that are going to do a solid amount of damage, and even though like StarLord has a Fury buff, Thor gets buffs through Fury, even those guys have buffs, they do such a tremendous amount of damage on the backside that you can make up for that 5% heal, because it doesn't pop every buff, it just pops on I think it's like every 6 seconds or something that they can take another one from you. So real quick, I'm going to take this Ant-Man path over here. Ant-Man with role reversal, not having someone go in there that you're used to, like your skilled champs, even though you can't decrease his defensive accuracy. A lot of people are just used to fighting him with skill. So but yeah, there we go. Every 7 seconds, the next buff triggered by you is removed, and each time that happens, they get 5% of their health back. So really, the Ant-Man fight is one of the longest fights. It can be really frustrating. But again, since we're dealing with role reversal, I'm going to take in my Dr. Voodoo, I believe. I think that's going to be our better option here. And for those that don't know, it'll still show that you have that you're losing this and that you're losing attack on the class disadvantage, but you really have the advantage. So that's just part of the the mind trick that it's going to do on there. So we're just going to jump in. Ant-Man's usually not too hard of a fight. It's just a long fight, and so this is the same with like the Labyrinth of Legends Voodoo or Ant-Man. It just takes forever. So really what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to build up to my 3rd bar power and just try to do what I can. And obviously with glancing it doesn't proc, but I'm going to try to get as many buffs on him so I can pop Brother Daniel and get try to get some poison stacks on him. Honestly, it'd probably be a good idea to try to do an even combo with the 2-bar power, just so I'm doing that extra burn damage. But we might try that if I can't get any more stacks. So as you see, oh gosh, and then I get hit. I'm trying to talk. I had the dexterity buff from dodging back, and that immediately gave him 2,600 health back. So that's where you got to play around, and that's the kind of the frustrating part about the Ant-Man fight. It's just how long it takes. if I can. Yeah. Okay. So I got 3 stacks of it. That's good. I'm gonna be able to apply the power burn when I'm not getting hit by the glancing for the extra 355 damage. Just try to get as much damage out on him as I can. I try to use level 3s a lot too, especially against AntMan, because he can't, like I said, he can't proc the glancing against the special 3, so it's just some free damage. Alright, so next combo, I'm going to fire off my level 2 again. Oh, or just have enough power to get my level 3. That's a mistake on my end, but it's all good. AntMan's down, what was it, 120 some hits, I think? 125? Yeah. So obviously we had that mistake in the middle. You're going to make them in Chapter 5. It happens, or Act 5. You know, if it was one of these other fights, I might start over. This Spider-Man is pretty rough. Having to go in with Mystic again, I would use Dr. Voodoo, like I said, just did. And put an odd combo on them just to try to slow down some of those evades, because they are a pain. So one benefit of role reversal is now I have the class advantage using Gwenpool coming in against Nightcrawler. So obviously this is a 455 Gwenpool, but your 550 would be helpful. And guys, I wouldn't come at this with 440s. It's not that it's not doable. I just feel like you're going to drop a lot of items to try to make it all the way through. So in Nightcrawler, we're just going to try to play safe. Not going to hit more than I need to after parries. Once I get up to about a 20 or 30 hit combo, I'm not going to be too worried about him evading anymore. So with that buff up, I literally am just going to hit him one at a time, unless I land a parry. I'm just going to let him bleed out so I don't risk getting tagged. Nightcrawler down. So yeah, the role reversal is really nice for Nightcrawler. So coming at him with a 550, not Scarlet Witch, sorry, Black Widow, or honestly hitting him with a Falcon wouldn't be too bad either, because you can just pop the targeting. So any of those champs that normally would have the class disadvantage, even Crossbones wouldn't be horrible. He'd be getting guaranteed heals every 7 seconds, just because you're going to be popping Fury constantly. But it is something that you can do. So since I don't have any class advantage or disadvantage on this one, I don't have a science to bring in here to fight him with. Very few times am I bringing science champs to fight with anyways. I've got a Hulk, but he's not duped as a 5-star, so I don't really bring him with me anywhere. I'm just going to go ahead and bring in StarLord. Just try to end this pretty quick. Even though technically Gwyn ends fights faster, but it's all good. So again, you're just going to have to fight through the heals. You're going to give him the heals and the dexterity. You're going to give him heals with any type of fury buffs or anything that you get. You're just going to want a champ that can get in there and do more than 3,000 damage every 6 seconds, obviously, to make up for the difference, which most people are going to be able to do. If you're bringing in any champs that are 550, you should be able to do enough output between that 7 seconds to put out the damage that you need to do, especially if you're not having to do the dexterity evade all the time. If you're coming in and just parrying, you're going to take a lot of block damage, but it's better than them healing constantly and just basically having to kill him twice by the amount of heals that he's going to get. Skin without a science. Because Black Widow has that passive evade, I'm going to bring in Gwyn here. Just to lower her chance of that 3% evade. It's not guaranteed that it's going to completely remove it, but anytime I can help reduce that that evade chance, it's helpful because it'll always catch you when you're not paying attention, and Widow, like Spider-Man, can just rock your world suddenly with a bunch of crits, so... that. I got really lucky there that that was on the final attack and I was already prepared to block. Alright, I'm going to fire off my level 3, and if you notice, right as I fired off my level 3, she was stunned. So that means the second this is over, I'm going to go ahead and rush her. So I should be able to kill her in the next combo or two because of that armor break. So that's something to always pay attention to. Quick Gwyn pool guide, that if you notice before you pop your level 3 that you got that stun, you should be good to go to rush in immediately afterwards, which is a nice benefit because after you get that armor breakdown, you want to get bleed stacks on her as quick as possible or on your enemy as quick as possible. Because if you have deep wounds, you're probably going to get to the point where they fall off about the same time as your armor break does, so you should be able to continue that on. I've noticed that with full deep wounds, if you get a bleed on them anywhere from about 40% of the cooldown being gone on the armor break on. So if you have 60% of the timer left, you should be able to refresh that refresh that armor break without it falling off. I should have gone in there, but I was trying to think and talk to you guys, so I was just kind of blanking out. It's been happening more and more often. I gotta try to time my level 2 a little bit quicker. You know, habit has me doing it at the same time each time, and after some recent patches, it's been getting blocked a little bit, so I just need to adjust. All right, so. Again, on this path, I'm going to take in Gwyn just because the class advantage that I have on this one. I just want these fights over as quick as possible. So the highest damage dealers you can bring are who you want. It's not a horrible idea to pick up suicides when you run through here, just to increase the speed that you drop these guys. On my first playthrough, or when I was working for 100%, I definitely had suicides on for basically all of chapter 5 or act 5.3 and a lot of 5.2, just so I could, like I said, end these as quick as possible. That 60% extra damage and running boost and things like that are going to be great ways to sustain longer, because the chip damage you take will be less than the than what the suicides are going to do to you throughout the fight. So I'd recommend, if you have the opportunity, don't go drop 6,000 units unless you really want to be using them to pick them up. But if you already have them, it wouldn't be a bad idea to switch them on to go ahead and clear this out. So far we're doing pretty good. We just had that mistake on Ant-Man. Not saying that the rest of the playthrough is going to be smooth without errors, but it's been a pretty decent start. So Scarlet Witch can be frustrating because sometimes you can just get poisoned a ton of times. So I'm going to bring in Thor here, just try to get those 2 armor breaks on, pop a level 1 or 2 and just end the fight as quick as I can. Wasn't sure if I had it or not, so I backed off. So I could have taken the gamble there. She had the 2 armor breaks on. I could have just started another combo, finished with a level 1, and either prayed that KO'd her. But as you saw, my next level 1 didn't crit, and it didn't do that much damage. So it was a risk just whether or not I got that crit or another stun off of it. So that's why I decided to pull back and just take my time on it. And of course, I parried the level 2 instead of dodging it. So I got kind of lucky there that I didn't take a lot more damage than I should have. So that bleed R, oh wow, misdodged that. That bleed RNG I was getting earlier where I wasn't getting any against Mephisto in a previous video. I'm making up for that by getting those 7 stacks and 15 hits. There is time to go in after the special 2 and hit Cyclops. I don't do it very often just because he can recover quick enough to either parry or intercept you. So if depending on how far away from him I am, I'll decide to go in or not. But that one I was max distance, so I think that he would have got an intercept up on me in time. Okay, and since I've already cleared this, I'm going to take the little bit shorter route. Punisher can be a pain in the butt, as you guys know. If you guys you take a lot of block damage from his level 2, so you can fully evade the level 1. It's difficult, but it's doable. So I would recommend trying to do that if that is possible for you. It's kind of like how you evade Spider-Man's level 1, just quick dash backs in between every single bullet. But why clear the same area if you've done it already? So why make it harder on myself? In your first clear, you really don't have to take the longest and hardest paths. Just my recommendation is take the short ones, just get it done to get the bonus rewards and the first clear bonuses, and try to get that uncollected title. Oh wow, that parry should have landed. Man. Want one more, there we go. So it's no Thor from pre-12.0, but I still, outside of Hyperion, I highly recommend people take their Thor up to 550, especially if he's got a decent signature level. I just feel he's so strong right now still. And now that his prestige is better too, it's not a horrible call. Putting Brother Daniel on her so that she has less chance of evading when I'm attacking into her, and I get a full 5-hit combo off of a parry. That's weird. I should have got all of them. Only gave me the 2 stacks. Probably just missing something. See, this should give me 5. Only give me 3. Oh well. Alrighty. It's always interesting whenever you're like a little nervous to fight a SpiderGwen. She gets that evade and she can clip you really hard. It doesn't matter who the enemy is in Act 5. If they hit you, it's going to really hurt. I'm just going to quickly check the extra buffs. I forget what else is coming in on him. The double down and armor. Okay. So I'm gonna take StarLord in, even though Voodoo has the advantage, but he's poison immune, so really don't feel like taking in Voodoo to this fight. So I'll just do a neutral benefit. So if he pops his level 1, I do something normally, and it's a little bit different than what other people will probably do, but now I'm just going to push him to his level 2. Try to bait this out. And and by bait, I mean get hit in the face by it. Alright, let's just see if we can recover a little bit. So a lot of times there, depending on my distance, I'll rush back in between the combos because you have time to. Just to make sure I'm close enough that I can get the immediate rush back in. So to save some chip damage and block, I'm gonna get him back over his first bar of power using this, so I don't have to try to parry him or anything. That's always a good sign.